All right, I think we're live. I did a live stream yesterday, and I tend to just do that to save memory on this old laptop that I use to stream sometimes. And it only did like a minute of my live stream. It was really cool. I showed a bunch of my old like screenplays. I have a box. I have this box over here. It's just full of everything I wrote up till about like 2007. Of course, I've written more since, so I probably have a couple of. Anyways, whatever. I digress. I'm super sweaty right now. I just went out to my garage and was going through stuff that I want to put in my office. And I did a video last year kind of talking about some of my books that I own. And those are probably my more favorite books. Don't come in here interrupting me, please.
But can I say hi?
I guess. Go ahead.
Hi, everyone.
You done interrupting me?
Yeah.
Okay, love you.
Love too.
So we're setting up the office. I got this really cool chair that my sister got me. I love it. It's really comfy. I can kind of chill. I got a new desk for my birthday. So we're slowly getting there. We got the green screen. We filmed a ton of stuff yesterday. Just a ton. So today I was just going through books. I don't know if you guys knew this about me. I'm very open about my love of movies. I love movies. I have a ton of movies. Showing off my DVD shelf. I've shown off my DVD collection, all my movies. I've been collecting movies for a very long time. So, but something else that I've always collected. So music, I love music, right? But all that's digital. All that's on hard drives. I have a ton of music. I get that digitally. Video games, I've gone digital. I have a ton of video games, but like I don't really collect them like I did when I was younger. The main things I collect now are movies, and even that's kind of died down, but I still like books. I like paperback books, sometimes hardcover books, but mostly paperback books are like my favorite thing to read. So thought I'd show off some of my books. Behind me over here, I'm gonna have to do this. Ooh, I don't like the lighting. How should we do this? Anyways, I'm gonna turn on the light. Right here we have 5 boxes. Those are full of books. And I'm going to start going through them. And you guys can join me. This is something a little more nerdy about me. I love... Here, I'll give you guys a quick recap in here. This is my closet. This is where I was showing off some stuff last year. It's kind of a mess right now. But up here, we got Mankind's book, which was really good. Some Star Wars books. We got all the Roald Dahl books, Wayside School, Junji Ito. We got Uzumaki. There's Kevin Smith's My Boring Ass Life. That Richard Bachman book, The Regulators, was the first Stephen King book I ever read. I got The Art of War. Some Carlton Mielik. Just a ton of shit in here. These books over here, these are the books I don't like that I own them, but I want to use them. Let me sit you down right here for just a second. I want to do a video with these books. Oh, this book's really cool. My Heart is a Chainsaw. There's the third. It's a trilogy. This is the first of a. There was a second book that came out last year or a couple years ago. So the third of that book just came out in March. So I'd like to read those. And Stephen Graham Jones is awesome. I'm going to probably get more Stephen Graham Jones. Here we go. So I had this joke set up, and I wanted to do Gone to See the Riverman as part of the joke. So this is one of the most fucked up books I've ever read, right? Another fucked up book that I've enjoyed in my life is Blood Meridian. Now these are readable books. This book, and I got it. I wanted to try and test myself to see if I could read this. I got to page 17. The Marquis de Sade's The 120 Days of Sodom. There's a movie based on this book called Salo. Actually, I think it's called Salo or 120 Days of Sodom. It's either one. And when that movie came out in Italy, when it premiered, I think a couple weeks after it premiered, the director was beaten to death. That's how disgusting this content is. I'm not recommending this book. I'm embarrassed that I own this book. It has been hiding in a box for a long time. But I do have a funny joke that I want to use this book for. And in a way, I mean, the name, Desaad, the word sadism comes from this guy's name. This is how fucked up the guy who wrote this book is. He wrote it in an insane asylum on a roll of toilet paper. This is stuff that you probably don't need to consume or read. I bought this at a younger, impressionable age when, you know, we were trying to like see the most fucked up things on the internet. And not that I'm making excuses. This is disgusting crap right here. This is probably one of the worst things I ever tried reading. Like I said, I made it a couple pages in, and there was about there's like a whole chapter just describing the length of space in between the main character's like testicles and his butthole and stuff. Really weird fixations on like it disgusting. But the joke would be I'm comparing 120 Days of Sodom, which is notorious English literature. Like it's translated to English, it's notorious, like infamous, right? The joke would be I'm probably reading Blood Meridian or probably Blood Meridian because that's a fucked up book, and I'm reading it, and then I'm reading it to kids. Like I'm not gonna really. Well, you'll see when you see that video. I'm not actually reading this shit to kids, but then the parents are gonna get mad at me for reading Blood Meridian. I'm gonna go, well, I also brought Gone to See the Riverman. I feel like Christopher. I don't know how to say his name. Christopher Triana, the author of this book, would appreciate the fact that I'm comparing Gone to See the Riverman with 120 Days of Sodom. Like that's pretty fucking crazy thing to compare. This is good. This is a horrific novel with some fucked up stuff that happens, but it's good. It's supposed to be fucked up. This, I don't know, man. Like this is bad stuff. So, anyways, I do have these books. I'm okay with having these books on my shelf. I don't want to own this anymore. I was gonna try and do a paper on it, and I couldn't even. I remember talking to the English professor at the time when I was trying to read it, and I was like, I don't think I can do this, man. And he's like, he told me, he's like, I can't read that shit. If you can't read it, not worth doing a paper on. And I was like, you know what? You're fucking right. So anyways, I've talked about these books before. There's some good stuff here. I even got The Alphabet of Manliness. What's up with that? Books of Blood. Some old Westerns. Yeah, fun stuff. Okay. I packed these boxes a long time ago. I don't know what's in them. So here we go. I'm going to just randomly show you guys some shit. So first up, Garden of Darkness. Is the light going to be okay in here? I don't know if this is going to work the way I want it to. I think I'm going to have to move a box over here. Let's try this because the lighting is better this way. Does that work? And we'll have to go one box at a time here. So first thing I notice here is I do have some old ass Harry Potters. I stopped at Goblet of Fire. I don't think I got through Goblet of Fire. Harry Potter came out at a time I was in junior high, and I was already kind of reading adult novels by that point. So, I enjoyed Harry Potter for what it was. I never got into the movies, but I have the original 3, which I'm happy I own these. I don't know. I doubt they're the first printing of Harry Potter, but first American edition, October 1998. So that's pretty cool. I got some first prints of Harry Potter. Got some Star Wars Lego pieces in here. That's cool. Weird little Lego guy from the Dollar Tree. All right. I got some Dean Koontz. I do like Dean Koontz. I think these were my dad's Dean Koontz, and I just threw them in a box. But I've kind of gotten warped a little bit. So these aren't really my books. I think my friend Tessa let me borrow this. It was interesting, but it was kind of girly, so I don't know if I finished this. If I did, it was a quick read. Some other crap in here. Okay, so some more Dean Koontz. All right. Now, this book, speaking of fucked up, I read Chuck Palahniuk's Haunted when I was over in the Middle East, and I ended up giving it to my friend because she was a much bigger fan of his than I am. But I mentioned Chuck Palahniuk. I read Invisible Monsters, which was pretty interesting. I enjoyed this book, and I read Choke. I've never read Fight Club. I feel like Fight Club would be fun to read. So my girlfriend at the time, her friend was super into Chuck Palahniuk, and she's like, check out this disgusting book, Snuff. This is pretty fucking disturbing. This is a pretty fucking disturbing book. The way it ends, it's in the crowded green room of a porn movie production, hundreds of men mill around in their boxers while waiting their turn with the legendary Cassie Wright, an aging adult film star. Cassie intends to cap her career by breaking the world record for serial fornication by having sex with 600 men on camera, one of whom may want to kill her. Disturbing book. It's a disturbing book, guys. Oh, we got some old yearbooks here. Oh, these are cool. Some more Dean Koontz. I got some player's guides for StarCraft. Warcraft 3. It's the original StarCraft. Those are pretty cool to have. I have The Relic. I don't know if I've ever read that. Okay. This looks like kind of a discarded pile of books. Other than the Harry Potters. I do have for when I was a kid for a while, I was collecting, my parents would get me these they're the Left Behind, the kids version of Left Behind, and I have quite a few of these, and they were pretty good. I never read the adult Left Behind. Despite my beliefs, I think it's cool. I think it's kind of a cool thing to kind of like read about, but I also feel like Left Behind is this weird like Christian fantasy, like that's like, we were right, you better repent. I don't know. I think it's important as somebody with my beliefs that the world will end one day, but I also don't think it's something that I'm supposed to be hyper fixated on. You know, I think I'm supposed to just live life and like do my thing and try and be good and get through life and not really. I'm not a preacher, right? So when I make something like a horror movie, or if I write a story, even if my intentions are like to have a message, or I don't want to come off as preachy with my spiritual beliefs, right? I don't want to force somebody. I would rather convince you that me doing my belief or me celebrating my belief is for good. You know what I mean? I don't want it to be a forced thing. That's not real belief, right? If you're forced into a religion. So I feel like recreating stuff from the Bible can be a very dangerous road. I feel like you can really fuck that up. And I don't want to mess up anything with like what people believe, right? So these are cool books, but at the same time, I don't ever want to be like, you should read this because you're an atheist. Like, I don't want to, hey man, you're an atheist. I got my beliefs. This is what I believe. And this is how it helps me in my life, right? But neither of us are better than the other one, right? I think that's a better way to kind of go about your belief. Whether you're atheist or Buddhist or whatever you are, I feel like you should be really like, hey, this is what I do. And if the person gets mad at you for that, then fuck them. But if you're not forcing it on anybody, there's nothing wrong with it. So something like Left Behind. It's an interesting story. I know there's 2 authors for the original like adult Left Behinds, and one of them kind of like sold out at the very end of his life, and he made that really bad Nicolas Cage rendition of Left Behind, and they kind of were making fun of like the rapture and everything. It was bad, and then he like died a couple weeks later. It was like, okay, man, that's dark. All right, getting off religion. I have these weird little. I always find these. This is kind of messed up. I was subscribed to this thing. I think it was called Chiller, and every month they would send me a cool little packet of books, and it had these like little books in it. And I got it for a couple months. My mom got it for me for like half a year or something. It had a little cool like horror movie magazine in it, and it came with a issue of Goosebumps and some other random. We might find some of them in these boxes. Some of my horror novels that I got from this cool like Scholastic program when I was a kid. But yeah, I love that shit. All right, we are done with box number 1 out of like 5 boxes. I don't know if I'm editing this either, so hopefully I'm not saying shit that's gonna embarrass me later on. Ow. Charlie, enough. Oh, I don't want to move any more boxes. These are heavy. Okay. All right, we got some kids' books over here. Well, right off the top, we got some Mark Twain. I can hear you, dude. Charlie, stop. We got some Mark Twain right here, ladies and gentlemen. John Saul, who I do like John Saul. I like John Saul a little bit better than Dean Koontz. Dean Koontz. Last warning, and then I'm going to get really mad. Quit interrupting my video, please. I can see you, and you're annoying me. Punk. Some more Left Behinds. Come here. I'm trying to record something. You're being incredibly rude and annoying. You're not listening and you're arguing. Don't do it again. Go. Goosebumps. We'll talk a little bit about Goosebumps here in a second. Soul Survivor by Dean Koontz. More Dean Koontz. Tom Clancy. I had a little Tom Clancy phase when I was a kid. We got Red Storm Rising, which is kind of boring. More Left Behind. Oh man, there's dust on these books. All my cool ass Goosebumps books. I want to read this. I'm gonna probably leave that out. My Airman's Manual. Pretty cool. Glad I saved that. Okay. Really cool book about war. The things they carried. It kind of talks about how war veterans have a hard time telling some of their stories to people who aren't war veterans because some of these things are so unbelievable that you see over there. So I can kind of relate on some level. I was in the Air Force, not to downplay my service or anything like that. But I have talked to a lot of like veterans, like especially like, you know, Navy SEALs, and I live in a Navy town. So Navy SEALs are like, they have some of the craziest fucking stories. So this is a really cool book. I'm glad I have that. We got Rainbow Six, ladies and gentlemen. Rainbow Six. It has a bunch of kids' books. That's cool. All right. I got a romantic vampire story called For All Eternity. Total chick book that I liked for some reason when I was a kid. Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing. Classic Judy Blume. I like Fudgemania too. I don't think I have Fudge. Some more Dean Koontz. My hands are getting so filthy. Yeah. We're going to talk about this book series as well. Let's get some of these out of here. Oh, hey, I still have my Bible. Finding Peace and Happiness. A lady just gave that to me. I think it's a Christian book, probably. All right. The Shack. Christian novel. Pretty good. Ready Player One. Anthony lent this to me. My friend Anthony lent this book to me 6 or 7 years ago. Anthony, if you want this back, I got your book, bro. Pocket Prayers. This is pretty cool. There's some snot on it. Sorry. Let me dust this off because my friend wrote this book. This is M. Strange's B book. Pretty cool. Big fan of M. Strange. I was a voice actor for a small part in Heartstring Marionette. Toddlers Are Assholes. Great book. I think my sister gave me that. So this was a college book, The Divine Comedy. I read this in like, I don't know, a day or two because I had like a deadline. It's like 400. I fucking was so mad when I read this. This and the Iliad killed me when I read them. They were just because of the way I read them. Night, which is I believe it's a Holocaust book. I read that when I was a sophomore in high school. Some more Dean Koontz. Random book. My Grams had a friend who would always give us books when we were kids, so I have all these random books. This is cool. I don't remember buying these, but here they are. We got Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I don't know where number 2 is. We should find number 2. Some more Goosebumps. Hatchet. I just read this to a group of kids. Very good. Classic. The Present Darkness and Piercing the Darkness. Big fat fucking 2-part book. Pretty cool. It's about demons and how they can they can manipulate different feelings, and pretty neat book. Goosebumps. Sin City. This is kind of neat. I got some old. My grandpa had a Ford pickup that he fixed up, so I kept his old tune-up books. Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. I've had this book since I was in preschool. So that would have been 1990 and 1991, I think. So a long fucking time, over 30 years. Desperation. This goes, it's like, it goes Desperation, and then I think The Regulators came out, and The Regulators is like a weird spin-off of Desperation, only he did it with his other name, Richard Bachman. And if you look here, that's the cover to The Regulators, which is kind of cool. The only presidential book I ever bought was Stephen Colbert's I Am America and So Can You. Classic. Another yearbook and a book about birds that I've had for my ever. Some more college. I had a really cool college class. I took 2 to get my associate's degree. And one class I was eating up the literature, and then the other class was like, fuck this. Here's the Odyssey. Fuck. Dude, do you know what it's like to read the Odyssey like in like 2 or 3 nights? Do you know what that's like? Especially when you have like a newborn kid and like you're just trying to get through the fuck. Actually, I wasn't a dad at that time. I think I just moved into my house. So I don't know what was going on. I think I knew I was gonna have a kid. I think Charlie's mom was pregnant with him at that time. But so that was my humanities class. I had to read the Odyssey and Beowulf and all this shit. But the other class was a literature class at the local college here. And I got to read Frankenstein, Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I'd have read Frankenstein when I was a kid, but I got to read it again. There's the Epic of Gilgamesh, not Beowulf. I think I did read Beowulf too. But the Picture of Dorian Gray. So like, that's my humanities class. Like, look at this cool shit I'm reading for literature class. Like, I'm reading all the classic fucking Penny Dreadful stuff, and homeboy is making me. This is probably my favorite Bible, the Beginner's Bible. I love the artwork in this, and Charlie actually has a newer rendition of that Bible, just because it's fun to read and he's able to comprehend it. Just some Bibles. My grandma sent me that when I was over in the Middle East. I got Clash of Kings, and Jesse, I believe, lent this to me, and he told me I could keep it. And I think I was using a piece of toilet paper. What the fuck? For my bookmark. All right, we'll rock it, dude. That's funny. I think that's it for this box. Okay. Box number 2 down. My hands are fucking filthy. I'm gonna have to put all this shit back too. I should have some of the dust. I'll be back. I don't know how fascinating this video is going to be. I'm literally just going through books, but it's kind of fun to reminisce a little bit and tell you guys some stories. I obviously have a problem with saving everything. I'm going to have to go through these and get rid of some of these probably. And by get rid of, I'm going to donate them, just so you guys know. Okay. Okay. This is a weird kids book I had. Elsie and the Critter Kids. I think they were trying to take, I forgot what the, it was like they were trying to do a cool version. I mean, there was books like this when they were smaller, when they were like, I don't know what animal this was. But I think they were trying to like make them more appealing to 90s kids or something. I don't know what the fuck is going on in that book. Had that book forever though. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Oh. Newer books. Cool. So these aren't all dirty and gross. That could be garbage. Cool little Venomized Silver Surfer figure that my daughter gave me. Cool little Galactus Pez dispenser. Those are neat. I got this piece of shit camera for $30 for whatever film. It actually takes pretty good video, but the audio is such a joke that I guess I could plug a better mic into it, use it for something. I don't know. Okay. Got some comics in here. I'll probably do a separate comic video, but I got the first 2 volumes for Lone Wolf and Cub. There's a lot of these, and I just wanted. These are the only 2 I really needed. I'm a big fan of I love Shogun Assassin. I've seen that a million times, but I went back and watched all the Japanese Lone Wolf and Cub dubs. Speaking of Japanese, I got this really cool Something Wicked from Japan. And this is Ghosts, Demons, and Yokai. And it's all like different pictures of like monsters in Japan. Pictures of like monsters in Japan, in feudal Japan. And really cool. Just an art book. Pretty rad book. I'm glad I own that. One of my favorite children's books, Where the Wild Things Are. Classic. That's Charlie's book. And then a bunch of Fangoria. So these are all of my magazines. All my horror movie magazines. And I think I'll go over these later because I want to put them into covers of some kind. I got the first issue of Delirium, which is Charles Band's zine. That's signed by Alex and Marissa Murphy from Ricky Shore Sings the Blues. I'm in this magazine. And the craziest thing about this magazine, I'm not in this magazine. A movie that I'm in is in this magazine. And Gregory Lamerson is in this magazine too. And I hate Gregory Lamerson. Guy just follows me everywhere. I hate him. He doesn't follow me around. And I love Slime City, by the way, Gregory, if you see this. We got Batman, The Long Halloween. So these are comics, I'm thinking. These are some of my trades. Oh, I got all the sagas in here. I love Saga. I have issue 10 too. So I'm gonna take those out. Those can stay out. The crappy mic that came with that camera. Okay, anyways. That's it for that. Bunch of horror movie magazines. Now the cool thing is, I think this box is all college literature. Let's go through it. Let's find out. Okay. Boxes and boxes of books in my garage. DVDs, old photo albums. I think Charlie and I are drawing in those. Well, this is Charlie's books. One of Charlie's books. So we're going to get a little kids library going in here too. Pretty cool. I made this for my dad when I was in the 4th grade on paint. Pretty funny guy. It's private. Oh, there's more kid books in here. Models for writers, pretty cool. Literature. Models for writers. Some Bill Bryson. Yeah, these are college literature. Read a lot when I was in college. Happy 18th birthday. Cool. All right. Oh, sweet. I love Bruce Colville, whatever. The Monsters Ring. This isn't even like as weird as this dude can get. I have some of these in my library at school. Yeah, I love this author, and I'd like to have a complete set of his weird books that he wrote. Here's some more of Charlie's books. My sister got them. Trying to keep these nice.
My book?
Yeah.
My book.
You got a bunch, bud.
Can you show them to me?
In a little while when I'm done making my video.
Okay.
Later.
Oh yeah, there's your box, Jason.
We got Dogzilla,
God.
one of my favorite books. Stole that from my wife. How to Catch a Dinosaur. It's one of Charlie's books. My sister did this for the first 3 years. Where's number 1? I got 3 and 2. I thought I had all 3 of these for these first 3 years. Maybe she just got them 1, 2, and 3. I bought this for Charlie, Darth Vader and Son. Pretty cute book. Ninja Turtles, well, Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, number 4. We got the Rat King on there. I'd like to get some of the older comic, like if I don't know if you guys have ever seen an original, like from the original series. There's some fucking cool cover art for the original like Ninja Turtles comic. It's so cool. Charlotte's Web, classic, one of my childhood books. This book was disappointing. I have it in the closet. You could have seen it at the beginning of the video. Robert Hamburger wrote a book called Real Ultimate Power, and it's his guide to being a ninja. It's fucking hilarious. Well, he followed that up a couple years later with Ghost/Aliens from the creator of Real Ultimate Power. Not as funny, still trying to do the same thing. It kind of fell flat on its face for me. Something funny about a guy writing a book about ninjas when he doesn't know anything about ninjas. We got some pop-up books from when I was a kid. It's kind of cool. Pretty neat. Pretty neat. Some more kids' books. We got Rascal, Clue Jr. number 2. Got the Bedford Handbook. King Midas. You guys ever read King Midas? May Amelia. I don't remember where I got this. I feel like I got this in high school somehow. It was really interesting. It's about the dollar bill and all the weird symbology on the dollar bill. Pretty interesting read. Oh, I got another one. I got 2 more. I got The Dinosaur That Hauled Me Out of Home and The Hairiest Summer Ever. Tight. Okay, these were from Chiller. Night Frights, which is really cool. This one was spooky. This one would scare me. I'd read this. I think I got this when I was sick at home, and I read the whole thing. You want to scare yourself? I scared myself. I did it, guys. Railway Ghosts and Highway Horrors was a good one. I really liked the cover art on that. The Jersey Devil. Scared to Death. These kids murder their babysitter and because they startle her too much, and then they are trying to figure out like what to do. Scared Stiff. I read this. I don't remember what happened. I think a zombie's coming after these kids. Totally Haunted Kids. Great book. 13 Ghosts. Great book. The Manhattan Club by John Saul. That's not one of my kids' books. Horrible Harry and the Kickball Wedding. Classic. And I love this. The Good, the Bad, and the Goofy. Fun little book. Some books from my hippie phase. Off the Map, about girls just traveling. The Dharma Bums. I traded, at the time, a girl I was dating, I gave her, I think it was called Get in the Van. I don't know, Henry Rollins' book. I didn't really like his book, but it was a really nice book, and I traded her for, she wanted me to read the Dharma Bums. I never read the Dharma Bums, though. I'm not a big Jack Kerouac guy. I'm sure it's a good book. I own it. I guess I could read it one day, but it was fun trading because I can't stand the way, I don't know. I'm a fan of Black Flag and stuff, but that book is overrated. We got some Franklin. I think that's my sister's book. Animal People. Rachel Pfister's Blister. Some Curious George, Revenge of the Babysat, and Yukon Ho. Kelly got me a really nice Calvin and Hobbes collection. So those are kind of useless to me now. Space Jam, the novelization of Space Jam, guys. Who has the novelization of Space Jam just sitting right here in their office? You tell me. My mom bought this for me. Spine Tinglers, the substitute creature. He's eating an eyeball in the front there. I picked this up at a used bookstore, never read it. The Dante Club. They're inspired by scenes from Dante's Inferno. Feng Shui, Cats of the World. Curious George. These are my sister's too. I must have just saved these books. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. My Grams got my sister these for her birthday. I don't even know if she knows that these still exist. That might be a cool gift to surprise her with. Like, hey, I stole your books. The True Story of the Three Little Pigs, classic. No Jumping on the Bed, another classic. Me and My Puppy, overrated. The Worst Pearson's Christmas. It's all right. This is Kelly's version of Five Little Monkeys Jumping on the Bed, which I that's why I'm thinking she's the one that got that for Charlie. Real Life Monsters. I love this book. I got this at a book fair when I was like 7 and was amazed. It's when I first learned about Komodo dragons. Talk to Me, Tiger, and Spiders. Brian gave me this book. 6th grade. Brian, do you want your Spiders book back? I still got it. I don't throw anything away, baby. I even have a Pilgrim's Notebook Guide to Western Wildlife. So if you need any, like, I've had this book since I was 9 years old. I've done a lot of studying. I know all about coyote scat. I know the difference between a coyote scat and human scat. I'll tell you that much. College literature. The Ringer. About a little psychopath killing chickens. The Last Dawn. Mario Puzo. Never read this. I probably bought that at a used bookstore thinking I might get to it. I read The Godfather, and that's a great book, but I don't know if I give a fuck about that. I didn't know I had this. I kind of want to read this. Cell. Robin Cook wrote this too, which is pretty cool. All right, we got some books here, guys. We're getting into some books. Dean Koontz's Strange Highways. My dad gave me that book. Oh, we emptied a box, guys. We did it. We got The Moccasin Trail, Sarah Plain Tall, and Ella Enchanted, which that might be my sister's book. I don't know why I have Ella Enchanted. Oh, all right. We're at the end of the video, friends.
God, wait.
No. Go. I'm not ending it yet. Stop interrupting my video. Very annoying. Hold on. Come here. When I ask you to do something, I need you to understand and do it, and not continue to do what I asked you not to do. Right? Go sit down. That boy. Kids, tell you what. All right. Now, save the best for last. These are good books. This is all discarded crap on this table here that I need to go through and organize and decide like what I'm keeping. Like, do I fucking need Sarah Plain and Tall, guys? Why? What is this? Where did I get this shit? I got it. It's here. What I do with it, I don't understand. Sarah Plain and Tall might not make the cut. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even know what the fuck that is. I'm bored just looking at the cover. Like, that bores me, right? What doesn't bore me is my old-ass edition of Night Shift. My Uncle Scott had this same book. Not this book, but a different version, a different copy of this exact cover. and it haunted me when I was a little kid. I must have been 3 or 4. It freaked me the fuck out, and I found it, and I own it now, and I love it. It's too old for me to read. I'll have to get a newer edition to read it, but it goes on the shelf, baby. I don't even know where to put this. I don't want to mix this in with this riffraff over here. Okay. Some more Stephen King. We got Salem's Lot. I read this in the Middle East. It's a pretty long book. It's like 700 pages. My grams got me that. Love you, grams. Some good John Saul. Hellfire is great. There's Beowulf. I knew I read Beowulf. There's Beowulf. We got Jurassic Park. Classic. City of the Dead. Now, this is a sequel. I believe the first one's called The Rising. I've never read The Rising. I had a friend who was telling me about The Rising. He said it was pretty cool. This book is fucking crazy. It might be one of the coolest zombie books I ever read. And there is some spirituality involved. I mean, the zombies are possessed by like otherworldly, like alien demon things. Like they basically are demons. So it's pretty cool. And they're destroying the earth. And I don't think that book has a happy ending, but not on like a physical level. We got Steve Martin's biography. I got The Thing. Very cool book. There is Shogun, which is I think it's a show. Well, it was a show back in the day, but they just made a new Shogun too. Cool stuff. I believe this is the first of the Witcher books. It's a whole series. I could be wrong on. Yeah, The Witcher #1. Pretty cool stuff. Fun. I like Jurassic Park. Congo might be my favorite Michael Crichton book. I love Congo. It's so good. We got Lord of the Flies. We got the original Game of Thrones. I read this book. I just bought this maybe a year before it was turned into a television show, and I was blown away with this book. My only thing with Game of Thrones is I feel like George R. R. Martin. I feel like George R. R. Martin will write about sex and like female body the same exact way he writes and describes food. And I like the show better than his book, which might be a very unpopular opinion. We got 1984. Some more Orwellian stuff here. What do I do with? Whoa. Some old school like nerd shit. Ghost King. David Gemmell. It's some weird like Saxons and Jutes stuff going on in here. Pretty cool. I don't think I finished this one. Shadows of Doom. Some fucking nerd books here. Wow. Oh, okay. So I have The Ghost King and Wolf in the Shadow. And this is like more futuristic. He has like guns and stuff. So I don't know. Well, this is the Stones of Power book 1 and the Stones of Power book 3. But I don't have book 2. So who fucking knows what's going on in these books? I might have to hold on to those and get through them. You know what I mean? We got Dune. I've been carrying this book around since tech school in the Air Force. Red Dragon. Great book. Great movie. Not Manhunter. I'm not a big fan of Manhunter, but I do like Red Dragon. Actually, speaking of books that I have never given back to people, this is the third book. This is Bill's book. Bill, I got your book. You let me borrow this in 2005. We're going on 20 years of me holding on to your book. Starship Troopers. This book's crazy. It's written by a naval intelligence officer. It's fucking crazy. The movie's awesome too. Good stuff. My favorite Jack Ketchum book, Offspring. This book is insane. I think I read it in one sitting because it was that good. Rest in peace, Jack Ketchum. Another book I read in one setting. Oh, my butt is so sweaty right now. Clive Barker's The Hellbound Heart. This is Clive Barker's first book that he wrote, and it's a short novel. Fucking insane book, guys. Insane. We're at 49 minutes. I've been talking about books for 49 fucking minutes. All right. We got some HP Lovecraft books here. I have a really cool leather hardback that my friend Jesse got me, but this was like this is what I studied HP Lovecraft on. Interesting. I really like the show that they did on HBO and how they got an all black cast to do the HP Lovecraft show. I thought that was fucking so cool. Anyways, I bought this book at, I don't know, fucking Costco or something when I was on a trip to Denver. My grandpa has an old John Wayne movie called The Flying Tigers, and I was like, what? And I really enjoyed this book. It's pretty cool. I think I read this when I was in junior high. Net Force. So when the internet was a new thing, and Tom Clancy was like, oh, I'm gonna write about the fucking internet and how there's like a FBI unit, or it's not even FBI, I don't even know. They're like a special like. Anyways, Tom Clancy doesn't write this shit. Steve Pitsanek? I don't even know how to pronounce it. Steve something. Steve Perry. Written by Steve Perry. There we go. Steve Perry. So Steve Perry is the father of S.D. Perry, who wrote the Resident Evil novels. And I had no clue until way later on. But I loved this in junior high. And then in high school, I got the S.D. Perry Resident Evil novels. And that's so crazy that I was reading one series by her dad, and then I read the Resident Evil novels and loved those too. And that's his daughter, of all people, right? So I have a couple. I only have 3 of the Net Forces, but they're pretty good. They're fun books. It's not even Tom Clancy. It's Steve Perry. This one's Steve Perry and Larry Sigriff, whatever. More Chuck Palahniuk. We got Choke, probably my favorite that I've read of his. Haunted was pretty crazy though. The story Guts. Look up the story Guts. We got Skeleton Crew, which is Stephen King's other anthology. Pretty cool. And then this is the Bachman books. So when he first started the Richard Bachman name or whatever, he did this cool. I really like the cover on that. That's badass. Has Rage, The Long Walk, Road Work, and The Running Man. So The Long Walk. I think The Long Walk is what Stand By Me comes from, right? Am I wrong on that? I think Stand By Me is in here, and The Running Man with Arnold Schwarzenegger, which is, a take on the Deadliest Game, but it comes from Stephen King. All right. Still going. I got the first Dark Tower. There's like 12 of these. I don't know. My Uncle Mark is really into these. He was going to lend them to me, but I feel like that's kind of a valuable thing to have all of. So Carlton Melick the third, he writes these really weird books, and I had like a little phase. Ape Shit's my favorite. I love Ape Shit. I love everything from the cover to just, and Ape Shit, I feel like is very similar to Cabin in the Woods. But Ape Shit came out before Cabin in the Woods, I'm pretty sure. So I don't know. I'm not saying anybody ripped him off, but like everything from like, there is a portal around the cabin that the birds fry and stuff in Cabin in the Woods. They can't escape, right? That's in Ape Shit, isn't it? Anyways, we got Razor Wire Pubic Hair, The Haunted Vagina, and Satan Burger. I don't know if I can show that. Satan Burger is probably his most popular book, I would say. At least when I was reading him, that was probably his biggest book. But Ape Shit. I also have The Menstruating Mall, which is a great title for a book. We got Breathers, which is a zombie romance story. It's all right. Give it a 2 out of 10. Tales of Punk Rock Nothing. Pretty cool book. Coloring Outside the Lines is really cool. And the reason I got this book was because Coloring Outside the Lines is really cool. And the reason I got this book was because I am a big fan of Penelope Spheeris's Suburbia. It's a great punk movie. And this is kind of like the book that they used. Did Penelope Spheeris do the Decline of Western Civilization? I think she did. I know Larry Clark got to start with all that shit too. So, and if you don't know who Penelope Spheeris is, she directed Wayne's World, I guess, was one of her bigger movies. But Suburbia, man, Suburbia is so good. So these are some of my punk books, I guess. And then I got Small Town Punk, which is a pretty cool book. We got the Lord of the Rings trilogy all in one fat book with good old Gandalf on the front. My Grammy got me this book. I read this. I didn't like it. I know there's a lot of like literature buffs out there who'd be very disappointed to hear somebody say that Lord of the Rings is hype, but this book is long and drawn out and almost as fucking long and drawn out and boring as the movies that they based off of it. I'm glad I read it, I guess, but I'll take Game of Thrones, the book or the show, over Lord of the Rings any day. We got the Surgeon USA. I don't know why I have a book written by Frank G. Slaughter, but I might have bought it just because the guy's last name is Slaughter. Look at that guy. That guy saw some shit, right? Some more Dean Koontz. There's so much Dean Koontz. I don't even know if I've read more than one Dean Koontz books. Those are one book from Dean Koontz. The rest of them are like my dad and my uncles. Really cool book. Our Band Could Be Your Life. It's about pretty much the indie underground in music they talk about, I don't know, Minor Threat. I probably bought this for Butthole Surfers and Sonic Youth and I don't know, whatever. Minutemen. Pretty cool. I like this book. I talked about Christianity earlier and my beliefs and religion and stuff. I wasn't insulted as a Christian. This book didn't really insult me. It's where does it say it? I'm pretty sure it says fiction on here somewhere. Yeah, right there. So I don't know why all the Christians are tripping on this. It was fine. It was interesting. I read it pretty fast. I enjoyed it. It's well written story. It was like Indiana Jones National Treasure shit to me. Whatever. Zombie survival guy. Max Brooks. Now this is okay. This is fine. I think I have it down here actually. I have Max Brooks' big book. I got this with I think it's World War Z, right? That is Max Brooks. Max Brooks is Mel Brooks' son, I believe, which is pretty fucking cool. And then somebody else with the name Max in their name, Tucker Max's I Hope They Serve Beer in Hell. As somebody who spent a good portion of their life not being a big fan of like the whole bro thing, like the fraternity brother thing, even though I like served in the military and I have my friends and I'm really close to my guy friends and I like doing guy stuff and throwing the pig skin around and drinking my Budweiser. There is something kind of cathartic and enjoyable about listening to this douchebag's awful, fucking disgusting stories. It's funny. It's very funny. And I don't think he's as terrible of a person. I think he's putting on kind of like a persona. But this shit's funny. And he is a douchebag. I tried doing a follow-up because I really enjoyed Assholes Finish First. I enjoyed reading that. So I got Assholes, I Hope They Serve Beer in Hell. So I got Assholes Finish First. And I think this was kind of like his goodbye to writing stories like this. Because he talks, I think he had daughters and stuff, and he realized he's a piece of shit. Maybe, I don't know what happened. The classic Asking About Sex and Growing Up. I never got to talk. My mom handed me this book when I was 7 years old, and I just told me everything I need to know. Probably my first pornographic material, too. Word up. Thanks, Mom. We got the Green Mile. Fuck. It's never ending. Who has this many books? Great John Saul, Creature. Okay, I've read 2 Dean Koontz books. I like The Watchers, and then I love Intensity. And I think there's a movie based on this, and then I also like the movie based on Intensity or on The Watchers. But look at Dean Koontz. Look at that mustache. Like, really? John Saul, though, this is a great book. John Saul is like up there with Stephen King for me. I love John Saul. It's like Stephen King, John Saul, Dean Koontz. We're gonna talk about R.L. Stine in a minute. R.L. Stine might be bigger than Stephen King in my viewpoint, from where I'm sitting. There it is, The Watchers. Good book. See, I had the good Dean Koontz sitting to the side. Some more Star Wars literature. I'm not huge. I have the Star Wars books I have in there are like the horror ones. Like I have Death Troopers and Red Harvest, and then I got the Armageddon one because I was kind of the end. But this is cool. It's like about Boba Fett when he's like old and he's trying to like make amends with his daughter for being a shitty dad. And there it is, The Godfather. Great book. I never got into the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy shit, but one of the funniest, like most enjoyable, like novels I ever read on an airplane. I got The Long Dark Tea Time of the Soul. I fucking love this story. It's insane. It's about a detective. Thor gets mad at an airport, blows a woman up in the airport, and it's just an enjoyable read. I don't know, man. It's good stuff. So if you're gonna check out Douglas Adams, I think it's Dirk Gently or something like that. There's like a detective or some shit. Yeah. Holy shit, David's here. My friend David is the one that got me to read this, and he just said hi in the chat. So that's cool. Yeah, David, you're the reason I bought this at the airport when I was like 18 or 19, and I really enjoyed this book. Really cool Christmas present for my mom. I'm into the whole like I'm reading Mindhunters, or I think I finished Mindhunters. I love the show Mindhunters. I like the like investigative stuff. I know he just died, but the motherfucker killed. Like O.J. Simpson did it. I think we've established that he did it, right? And this book kind of like proved it. And my favorite thing about this book is O.J. Simpson wrote this book, right? And he was going to try and make money. The Goldman family, because he went back to court. He couldn't be convicted for the murders, but he basically was in a way, and he owed money to the guy that he killed, who was just an innocent bystander at the time. He just got murdered because he was returning glasses or something, right? So this is his confession. Like he wrote a confession. So it's called F I Did It, right? But they made F really small and they just said I did it on the cover. I thought that was cool. Pretty fascinating. If I had any like reservations as to whether or not O.J. Simpson was a murderer or not, I definitely don't after reading that. So another book that goes hand in hand with my night shift book is Stinger. I've always seen this book on shelves, or I always did when I was a kid. Like everybody's dad had Stinger on their shelves, and it's a really fun and good book. My puppy's scratching the door. Hold on. I love that cover though, so I have my copy of Stinger. Oh, my butt is so sweaty now. Oh my god. Come on, puppy. I've been talking for like an hour and 3 minutes. I'm almost done. I'm almost at the end of all these books. Let's do the rest of these paperbacks. We got Hannibal, which if you've seen the movie, the ending of this book is one of the most haunting endings to a story ever. You got to read the book. I won't even tell you what happens. One of the best endings to a horror novel ever. Silence of the Lambs. Some more John Saul, classic John Saul. More Dean Koontz. I don't like Dean Koontz. Coco by Peter Straub, and The Blue Star, which looks like some weird hippie shit that I bought at a used bookstore for $3 and never got around to reading. Like, that's weird looking. This book breaks with the quasi-medieval setting of adult fantasy. Its atmosphere is civilized rather than heroic, although there is peril and daring do aplenty, which suits well the ingenious treatment of magic and the insightful treatment of the very human characters who populate the story. His writing is full of novel conceits, flashes of wit, and interesting turns of phrase. The setting of the Blue Star is lush and vivid. Every casual piece of conversation throws out a flash. That actually sounds really fucking cool. I might have to read that. All right. Go on, boy. Oh, no. These books got crushed. Pet Cemetery. Bye, David. We got Pet Cemetery, The Shining, and then another David book, The Fall of Reach, Halo. I don't know which one this falls into, but I bought this because David was reading these and told me it was good, and it was good. And actually, David got me to read this. If I'm correct, I believe I'm the one that got David to read Johnny the Homicidal Maniac. So we did trade off when we were kids. I think a buddy of mine in the military gave this to me, and I read it because of David, though, because I know him and our friend Ricky were reading that shit back in the day. Oh, I'm almost done. Do I need to say anything about this? Who doesn't own this book? This is a great book. Can you imagine if Chins could kill? Look at. I got this weird book at Maverick when I was working there. It was a gas station I worked for. And this guy kept leaving this crazy book. It's just a weird conspiracy book, so I just held on to that because I thought it was cool. Speaking of weird conspiracies, something fascinating to read. Behold a Pale Horse. This is the scariest fucking thing I have ever read. I don't know how much I believe it, but it is like the ultimate conspiracy book. There's all kinds of crazy shit in here. I read it for entertainment. I'm not like you guys don't have to put me on a list or anything. I'm not like big on conspiracies necessarily, but fuck. If you want to scare the shit out of yourself, William Cooper. Supposedly William Cooper was killed by the government in his driveway. His wife and his kids and him were all shot to death. I don't know how true that is. That's what this book claims, though. So this is some scary shit. Wolf Creek Incident. Nobody's ever heard of this book. My grandma sent it to me. I love it. It's about a half-breed Native American Irish kid who runs off with some cute redhead honey back in the 1800s because cowboys don't like him and Native Americans don't like him because he's a half-breed. Really cool book. Florence B. Smith. I don't know if she has any other books. I dig that book. We have 4 books left. We're almost done, David. I've been talking about books for an hour and 7 minutes. Now I gotta clean all this shit up too. Anyways, okay. There's a really cool H.P. Lovecraft that my friend Jesse got me. It does not have the ode to the N-words, I don't think. If it does, that's crazy. I love the artwork in this stuff. H.P. Lovecraft is a really cool author to study as far as his writing goes. Homeboy was fucking racist, though. I wouldn't say he was a very likable individual, especially like. I think they left it out. I'm okay with that. I don't need the more racial driven H.P. Lovecraft work, but this is a pretty comprehensive, like a pretty good. Where did my duster go? This is a pretty good idea of like everything that he basically wrote. I mean, honestly, it's all dusty. Guess I can dust this on my own time. Pretty cool book. I like these. I've got more of these. I got an old Western one. My wife got me all the fairy tales. The Grimm's Hans Brothers fairy tales or the Grimm fairy tales, whatever. I got The Art of War. I want to get Mark Twain. I feel like those are pretty cool. We got American Hardcore, a great book about hardcore music. House of Leaves, which is a very interesting work of literature, not only in what is written in here, but the way it's presented. It's just a really cool book. Love this book. And then Max Brooks's World War Z, great book. I got 3 more books. I just read these all recently. I don't know if I talked about these at all. I got Confessions of a Puppet Master, Charles Band's story. Quentin Tarantino wrote a book a year or 2 ago. It's called Cinema Speculation. And it's cool because he does talk about, like, it's not a memoir. Like, this Confessions of a Puppet Master is a memoir. It's Charles Band's, like, story, right? Quentin Tarantino just talks about the movies that he was watching at an impressionable age and how he grew through watching movies. And it's really interesting way of doing kind of like a memoir, I feel. Very fascinating stuff. And then I just finished this today. Down with the System, Serge Tankian's memoir. I like this book because it's not just about System of a Down, which is one of my favorite bands, or Serge Tankian, who's one of my favorite vocalists. It goes into the Armenian genocide from the Turks. It talks about what his grandparents went through. They survived that genocide back over 100 years ago. It talks about all this crazy shit that we don't really know about in America. I mean, we know the Kardashians and we know System of a Down, right? It goes into a lot of that. It's a fascinating book. I read this in like 2 or 3 days. It's good stuff. So, all right. An hour of this shit. Oh, I didn't talk about. Fuck. There's still more. Okay. I have Animorphs. Read these in junior high. I like them because there's the people turn into animals in the bottom corner of the screen. Oh, look, he turned into a shark. Okay. And then a good chunk of my Goosebumps. Goosebumps were a big deal to me because I was having a hard time reading up until about 2nd grade. I was struggling with my reading. I was able to read, but it wasn't like fluent until R.L. Stine, until Goosebumps. My first Goosebumps book I ever read was issue 19, Deep Trouble. I purely got this because there's a shark on the front, right? And what's in here? Oh, I even have a I Love Goosebumps bookmark. That's cool. And this is my first novel or paperback novel I read as a 7-year-old child. And I remember I read this in one sitting and I was able to understand what I was reading. And that's when I realized, oh, I can read. And it's also interesting because there's a hammerhead shark on the cover of this, right? My first Animorphs book I ever got, and I was really into Animorphs, had a hammerhead shark on it. What are the odds of that, right? And these are all of my Animorphs. So I kind of graduated. There's some more Goosebumps in here. I kind of graduated from Goosebumps to Animorphs when I got a little bit older. I really dug Animorphs. So Animorphs is like aliens taking over the world, whereas Goosebumps is just a different horror story every issue. So, and I said I was going to compare R.L. Stine to Stephen King. I feel like R.L. Stine is a much more successful author than Stephen King. They're both great, but I think R.L. Stine beat him out a little bit on book sales and money. I could be wrong on that. What I will say is R.L. Stine isn't as good of as an adult author. He did write a couple adult novels that weren't as good as Goosebumps. And what I will say is R.L. Stine isn't as good of as an adult author. He did write a couple adult novels that weren't as good as Goosebumps. So it's kind of two different things. Writing books for adults and writing books for kids are two different. And books for adults and writing books for kids are two different things. But they're both horror authors. So they're both pretty high up there. Anyways, thanks for watching this. I'm so tired. Goodbye. Charlie, did you want to say bye?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Bye, everyone. Like the video, like the button, and smash that like button. Subscribe.
Did you want to say hi to David?
Hi, David.
Have you ever met David? I don't think you ever met David.
Wait, David is watching our video right now?
Yeah, we were talking in the chat. David used to live down the street from where we're at right now. And your daddy would go down there and play with action figures, and we'd watch movies together, and we played video games. So we grew up together.
Oh. Hey, Dad, why haven't opened those things?
Mm.
You don't know?
I don't know, good reason.
Wait, what's in here? The Funko.
It's a Venomized Galacticus.
Oh, this is a normal Venom.
No, it isn't. It's Silver Surfer Venomized Silver Surfer.
I like when I'm in it because now I saw it. This is pretty cool.
You just completely glossed over my introduction to David.
I mean, hey David, like the video, like the smash.
He doesn't. No, we don't patronize David. He's like childhood friend. Get out of that. Okay, say bye.
Bye.
Get out. Love you.
What's it?
Keep it real, dog.
No.
You better keep it real. All right. Bye, David.